Hello and what is going on, lovely people of the internet? It is Hoop Money here with another video for you guys today. Today we are going to be talking about MP Materials, ticker symbol MP. Now, this is a great stock, and I have given a detailed analysis on this stock in this video, and all I ask is that you subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications if I earn it, only if I earn it, and the number one thing you can do for me is like the video. You know, liking the video, it actually helps show my content to other people on YouTube, and this is the best thing you can do for me because the more exposure I get, the better. So thank you for doing that, and I'm excited for this video today. I did a really detailed analysis on this morning, and I actually left a link in the bio to my analysis. It's a Word document right below the WeBull link where you can sign up to get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,600 a stock, and that's also a good deal if you want to get into investing. So yeah, check the links below in the description, and let's get right into the video. Alright, so I've put together this thesis statement of why to invest or why not to invest in MP Materials. There are several reasons why to do either, and we go through each of them thoroughly throughout this video, so make sure you stay tuned to the end, and I'll be discussing the risks as well. And yeah, so let's get right into it. So we see MP Materials right here on FinViz, and the wonderful thing about FinViz that I really like is it actually does technical analysis for you. You don't have to mess around yourself. You can see it's trading right here around the support line. So if you were to get into this stock, this is a decent entry point to get in around the $40 range. So here are some other numbers to look out for. The one thing that I'm looking at right here is the short float. So the short float is basically the percentage of float. So this is the shares outstanding available to be publicly traded, and 14% of those shares are currently being shorted. And there's a few reasons. We're going to get into the risks involved in this stock later in this video, so make sure you stay around for that. And you can click here, or you can scroll down to the bottom, and you can usually see financial statements, but since this is a new stock, they do not have any official financial statements. So they will be doing an earnings release after hours on March 18th. So that is the upcoming date that you need to be looking out for with this stock. So I've pulled up the investor presentation to be using in this video, and I've sourced it in the Word document in the description below right next to the WeBull link, so you can check that out. So we're just going to be going through this one by one and picking out and seeing exactly what this company is doing and why it can be a great investment. So the first thing off the bat is that they own and operate Mountain Pass. So Mountain Pass is this huge mine in California, and it has a bunch of these rare earth materials, and yeah, so MP Materials is in control of it, but they have not always been in control of the Mountain Pass region. They actually acquired it in 2017, which is why they are a relatively new company. But the Mountain Pass region has actually been around for, I believe, like 70 years of mining. So they've separated into 3 stages of what they're planning to do with their company. They have the rare earth concentrate production, that's basically the raw materials. They have stage 2, which they're expecting to be done by 2022. Rare earth oxide production. I'm not an expert on this, but I know that they're trying to produce these magnets, and the processing of these materials is very difficult, and China basically has a monopoly on the processing. So the whole point of this company is to bring back that processing to North America so Americans can profit off of this humongously profitable industry. So stage 1 right here, they have the concentrate, that's the raw materials. Stage 2, that's the refining, and then stage 3 is creating the magnets, and these magnets can be used in up to 90% of electric vehicles that are being produced. And this is any company. This is Tesla, this is Ford, this is General Motors, this is whoever, you name it, electric vehicle company, they need these magnets for the powertrain in their vehicles. So currently they have a 15% global market share of these rare earth materials. These are the raw materials, not the processed materials, and not the magnets. So these are their expected numbers for the magnets they're going to be producing. NdPr, those are the magnets that are used in these electric vehicles. So here you can see, while EV battery technology continues to evolve, NdPr magnets are found in more than 90% of electric vehicle motors. So like I was just saying, these things are very, very highly valued, and they're in very high demand. There are clients such as Tesla, GM, Ford, Volkswagen, Hyundai, you name it, everyone needs these magnets in order to produce their electric vehicles. So here they're talking about the EV motor magnet market. Keep in mind, they are not producing these magnets as of yet. They have the materials to produce these magnets, but they are not producing the magnets. So as you can see, there's a 31% compound annual growth rate for these magnets. And yeah, they're essentially trying to sell you on a 2030 expectation, when currently they only have the materials and they are planning to basically ramp up their business in the meantime. Alright, so here's a list of basically the size of all the rare earth companies. As you can see, here's MP Materials, located on the west coast of North America, and as you can see here, there is a bunch of magnet producers and rare earth oxide producers in China, and also here in Japan, and then Australia. So I think it was a bit misleading that they have these open circles for here in Malaysia and Australia, because this is actually their biggest competitor. Forget China. China is doing their own thing, and China's way ahead of everyone else in this whole industry. But their huge competitor is right here in Australia, and they do their refining in Malaysia. So they are an independent company, and they are based out of Australia, and they actually can process these materials, which MP Materials cannot do. MP Materials currently harvests these materials, and they send their materials over to China for the processing. So again, a lot of this presentation is showing the power of NdPr. That's the product that they want to produce, but they don't produce it yet, and they probably won't be producing this for 5 to 10 years from now. And based off of America's past, you don't know, this could be even longer. These are things that they are saying. They're trying to attract investors. After all, this is an investor presentation. So it's our job, by analyzing this presentation, to find out, oh, is this actually true? Or is this going to be something that's not actually going to happen? So that is what I'm trying to determine, and that's why I'm being skeptical. So this is actually interesting, and this is why I like the company right here. So this is their revenue and adjusted EBITDA. And I basically like to think of EBITDA as raw earnings, and it's basically earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. So it's basically interest. It's basically just the raw earnings before all like the tax incentives are like filter through it. So as you can see, year over year, this has gone from 52 million in revenue to 92 million in revenue, and that is really good. That's what we're looking for a growth company. We want that revenue to be increasing at a very, very high rate. And this is before we look at cost, because there's a lot of costs involved in growing a business. So we really like to see the revenue growing, and it's all right for the costs to also grow as well. Now this is what's really impressive. So adjusted EBITDA, and there's actually a little asterisk here. We're going to get into that later, but it's gone from negative 2 million to 24 million, which is huge. That's a huge expansion. All right, so here is another thing to look at. So we're looking at the net income. So as you can see right here, about 3 million in net income to almost 15 million in net income in 2020. Now, the first thing I want to look at is once it's adjusted for EBITDA, you see they take out this huge tariff credit. So I actually like this, because this is a tariff credit. So they actually have received more in income, and they're removing it from their adjusted EBITDA, which is good. You don't want them to include something like that in their EBITDA, because it's kind of misleading. They didn't actually earn that money. It's a tariff credit. But it's nice to see that they actually are getting huge credits from the government, because this is an industry that needs both private and government investments. So talking about government investments, we're going to be talking about the government investment recently in MP Materials, but also the government investments in other rare earth mining companies. In particular, Lynas. If I pronounce that wrong, don't hate me. But Lynas is basically the only other competitor to MP Materials besides for China. So what's really interesting is that the US government gave a grant of $9.6 million from the Department of Defense to MP Materials, and they also gave a grant of $30 million to Lynas so they can open a separation plant in Texas. Now this is very interesting because MP Materials is the American company, but Lynas, that's an Australian company that's located in Australia and does their processing in Malaysia. Now if Lynas uses this $30 million grant to increase their RE separation plant, they can get ahead of MP Materials and they can actually expand into America, which is definitely a big threat to MP Materials, who's competing to get to that processing stage of their development. Another huge catalyst for both of these stocks moving is that the Department of Energy has around $40 billion of unused funding that is designated for clean energy development and electric vehicle manufacturing. So this money will definitely be poured into companies like MP Materials, which is why it's getting so much attention, because there's so much interest in the government. Biden even said that he's trying to make the entire fleet of US vehicles to be electric vehicles by, I think, 2030. Don't quote me on that. That is just off the top of my head, but it shows that there's heavy investment from the government in electric vehicles. All right, so we are going to get into the risks involved in buying this company. So, first one is China. China has essentially a monopoly on rare earth materials and processing. The big thing about China is that they process these materials. We have access to the materials, but China has the processing and they can do it for much cheaper than anywhere else in the world. So that is basically what we're competing with right now. At any time, China can lower their prices, potentially wipe out a company like MP Materials. Currently, there's trade wars with China that prop up the prices and tariffs that also prop up the prices, but China still produces these batteries and the refinements way cheaper than anyone else in the world can do. Basically, China's influence wiped out this company Molycorp, which was the previous company that controlled the Mountain Pass mining region. They actually sold the Mountain Pass mining region to MP Materials. Another risk is that even when Mountain Pass does begin separating these oxides, so that would be stage 2, the US will remain dependent on China for the metal making and magnet production. So even when we get past stage 2, we still have to go rely on China to basically produce these magnets. And that goes hand in hand with the fact that MP Materials currently ships out their materials to China for processing as well. So another risk is that MP Materials alone cannot completely reach the demand of these magnets. They won't be able to be the leader anytime soon. They're going to have competitors to join in because there is such a huge demand for these magnets that it's going to be very hard for MP Materials to fulfill this demand on their own, especially when they're competing against China. And this leads on to the next risk of that all rare earth material companies currently lack hundreds of millions of dollars needed to bring them into production. So we're looking at a company that's relying on huge investments from government and private investors in order to actually get to the stage 3 that they have been promising. And another risk is that these private investors, they don't have long time horizons. They're not here to stay for 15 years with their investment before getting a return. Most of these investors want to make a couple $1 million and get out in roughly 2 to 3 years. So they're not looking to completely revolutionize this company. They are looking to make some quick money. And this final risk also plays along with the previous ones, is that a lot of the companies in this space do not actually solve the issue. And the issue is to create these magnets that are in such high demand. But there's so many gaps in the supply chain, and for rare earth mining and magnet production to actually be solved in North America, it will require a huge amount of investment in research, and I think it's going to take multiple companies, not just MP Materials, to actually complete this task. So here's the article, which actually has a link in the Word document in the description, but it's basically explaining Molycorp, which was in control of the Mountain Pass mining region before MP Materials. And this is a company that was listed on the stock exchange and made all these acquisitions. They looked like they were an expansively growing company similar to MP Materials, but they lost. They lost to China. China put them out of business. So it's important to know these risks when investing in a company like MP Materials, because history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And if Molycorp tried to do almost the exact same thing as MP Materials, and they did not get the investment that they needed from privately or from the government, and they went under. They declared bankruptcy, and they had to sell to MP Materials, who's essentially trying to do a similar thing. And with a company like Linus that they're competing with, who's already got the processing down themselves, so they have their own processing plants, but these processing plants aren't in Australia, they're in Malaysia. All right, so that just shows that it's a labor-intensive job to do this rare earth processing, and it's expensive. That's why they are relying on labor from China for the most part, and in this company in Malaysia. Linus also got a $30 million grant from the U.S. government to create a processing facility in Texas. So you can see that they actually might have the edge over MP Materials, and they're also a publicly traded stock, but they are over the counter, so you cannot get it on an exchange like Robinhood. But as you can see right here, they have also had a similar performance to MP Materials, and they are also rapidly increasing. And I think it might be a good idea to get into both MP Materials and Linus and split your investment 50-50, because they are both huge in this industry. All in all, I think what MP Materials is doing is great. They're trying to bring this huge industry back to America, but there are obviously some huge risks involved, and this is a very capital intensive industry to get started. So in order to actually solve this issue, which is bringing the processing of rare earth materials back to America in order to create these magnets for electric vehicles, it's going to take a long time to do. But we really like that they've increased their revenue and EBITDA in the past year, so that is a very good catalyst to the stock price increasing. And currently I am an investor in MP Materials. I like it. They have a private investment from Chamath, the billionaire that everyone loves. We'll see what happens with him, but he's got a private investment in this company as well, and I think at least I can make some money off of this. I don't know if my horizon will be longer than 2 to 3 years. I want to see what's going on with this company, and I want to see their progress that they make, because they're promising their stage 2 and their stage 3, which they are going to get to. And they said by 2022 they're going to start processing themselves. So if they are not making moves on processing these rare earth materials, I might have to take my stake out of the company. All in all, this is a risky investment which has huge upside if you hold for a long time and the company actually delivers on their promises. But keep in mind the risk we talk about, because not every company can make it out alive. And this is a company whose industry has encountered huge problems and requires huge capital in order to become successful. So you just need to keep that in mind when investing in this. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video today. I enjoyed doing all this research. Remember, you can find the research Word document in the description right next to the WeBull link, where you can sign up, get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,600 a stock. Promo. Yeah, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and peace!